You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah. Push and pull and
Honestly, Realme's performance over the last 6 months has really won me over. I didn't hesitate to praise them in my GT8 video, and that had nothing to do with sales numbers. I've genuinely been enjoying what Realme has been putting out this year, and then the Neo 8 dropped, and that really surprised me. And for around £255, it feels incredibly well balanced. A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from techmaiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our exciting tech content. The design looks great, the display is excellent, the battery is solid, and the camera delivers too. Add in the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor and the color-wise based system, and it becomes even more appealing. So if you're working with a tight budget or you're a student looking for a capable phone, the Realme Neo 8 is absolutely worth considering. Now, some people mention that the front black bezels look a bit thick. That's probably because mine is the black version. The white one actually looks much cleaner. Even when you compare it with flagship camera phones, getting this kind of experience for around £250 feels like a bargain. The metal frame and glass back aren't surprising at this price, but the squared edges and the seamless triple camera layout come together really nicely. I also think this generation's transparent glass back looks better than before, and Realme's take on transparency doesn't feel over the top at all. From the very first moment I picked it up, I've just liked how it feels in the hand. One cool little detail is the camera module. It isn't made from a single piece of metal. From the side, you can see it's actually semi-transparent acrylic, and when light hits it, it refracts subtle rainbow colors. It continues the transparent mount idea from the GT8 Pro, and I think it's a nice touch. The awakening halo on the Neo 8 is still highly customizable too. You can assign different colors to different contacts, match halo colors to app notifications, and even change how it flashes. Every now and then, just for fun, you can flip the phone and reveal a random lucky color. Overall, every phone Realme released this year has its own distinct identity, but the real star of the Neo 8 is the screen. In the £250 range, getting a 165Hz 1.5K display with colors comparable to Samsung's M14 is honestly impressive. Manual peak brightness hits 1000 nits, room brightness reaches 1800 nits, and it supports full brightness LED-C dimming. On paper, this is basically a god-tier display for its price. There is one small drawback though. At low to medium brightness, especially below 40%, there's a slight burlap-like texture, kind of like looking at grainy paper. Some people really zoom in on this issue, but let's be realistic for a second. Truly top-tier displays are insanely expensive, sometimes costing as much as an entire mid-range phone. So, while it uses a Samsung M14 panel, expecting flagship perfection across the board just isn't reasonable. At 23.99 yuan, I can confidently say that even with this minor issue, the screen quality is still excellent. It's genuinely bright, whether you're adjusting it manually or using it under strong sunlight. Compared to many flagship phones, it's either brighter or right on the same level. Viewing angles are great too. And on my unit, there's no noticeable green tint at wider angles, which I really appreciate. If this were a 600 or 700 pound flagship, you might be more demanding, but for a 200 to 300 pound mid-range phone, this is more than good enough. When it comes to gaming, the Neo 8 does have some standout moments. Even though the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 isn't the absolute strongest chip out there. The Antutu score comes in at around 3.2 million, but the real strength of the Neo 8 lies in how it manages performance and playability. It includes a Geek Performance Panel that lets you adjust CPU and GPU limits and even raise the thermal threshold, basically pushing past the default temperature controls. That said, most games don't actually need this feature. In a room at 24 degrees Celsius with everything left at default, high resolution, super HDR graphics all turned on, PUBG Mobile averaged close to the full 165 FPS after 30 minutes, with the temperature topping out at about 42 degrees. In Delta Force, attack and defense performance mode also stayed near maximum frame rate after half an hour, with temperatures around 43.2 degrees. For Genshin Impact at 780p, since the original setting caps at 60 FPS, I enabled the 120 FPS super frame rate. After 30 minutes, it stayed close to 120 FPS and the temperature remained quite reasonable. Honor of Kings doesn't support 165 FPS and caps at 144, but for MOBA games, ultra-high frame rates aren't that critical anyway, and gameplay was perfectly smooth. League of Legends Mobile was more demanding, especially in the updated ARAM mode. During my second run, heavy visual effects caused the frame rate to dip to around 120 FPS, and the phone warmed up noticeably. So I maxed out everything in the Geek Performance Panel, and surprisingly, the temperature stayed under 40 degrees, and the frame rate stabilized with no drops. When I compared CPU frequencies before and after enabling the panel, the difference was minimal. So honestly, in most situations, you probably don't even need the Geek Performance Panel. All of this testing was done under high frame rate, HDR, and heavy load conditions, and the Neo 8 handled it better than I expected. One of the coolest features here is the built-in PC handheld mode, which lets you run Steam games directly on your phone. Out of the 54 supported titles listed, 8 ran smoothly and were fully playable, 35 were marked as unverified and might have input issues, and 11 weren't supported at all. Big titles like Sekiro and Shadows Die Twice actually landed in the smooth category, so I went ahead and ordered a controller to test things myself. After trying it out, Sekiro and similar games ran without any real problems, and the phone didn't heat up much at first. That said, these games were limited to 30 FPS. Dropping the graphics settings did reduce the workload, but after some time the temperature still climbed to around 47 degrees Celsius. Even so, being able to play Steam games wherever you are, while syncing directly with your PC saves, is honestly awesome. I can already see why this has excited a lot of gamers. If you're curious, you can start by grabbing a controller. My 89 RMB Galaxy S100 works perfectly fine. What's interesting is that Realme Neo 8 isn't using the same emulator Red Magic used before. Instead, it feels more like a Steam Deck-style compatibility layer. If that's the case, playing Steam games on phones could soon become pretty normal, and the Neo 8 is clearly getting a head start on that future. Now, for a mid-range phone around 255 pounds, the Neo 8 has another standout feature, the GN5 Periscope telephoto lens, which is extremely rare in this price segment. I compared it directly with the OPPO Find X8s. Aside from a big difference in ultra-wide specs, the main camera and telephoto setup are surprisingly close. What really caught my attention is that even though both use the GN5 Periscope, the Neo 8 actually delivers better telephoto resolution, both during the day and at night. Zoomed-in shots retain more detail, and it's not just artificial sharpening. Maybe this is what full-power imaging brings to the table. There is one problem though. When shooting against strong light, autofocus can struggle, leading to blurry photos. That definitely needs fixing through optimization. As for the main camera, the gap isn't huge. In daylight, color, clarity, and overall viewing experience are pretty similar. At night, likely due to sensor differences, the X8s produces brighter images. The Neo 8's professional mode, also called tone mode, behaves in the same way as before, and maybe it's just in my head, but some shots do carry a subtle Hasselblad-style character. Let me quickly touch on the overall experience. The system is still Realme UI 7.0, but don't worry. A lot of new ColorOS 16 features have been added in. Some people have asked about the speaker quality, so I also did a listening comparison. Battery life from the massive 8,000 mAh cell genuinely impressed me. With normal indoor use and some gaming mixed in, it easily lasts over 9 hours. For several days, screen on time hovered around 12 hours, which finally creates a noticeable gap compared to phones that barely manage 7 or 8 hours. With 80 watts fast charging, it takes about 74 minutes to reach 100%. Charging speed versus battery life is always a personal preference. Do you want quicker charging with shorter endurance or longer battery life with slower charging? Either way, slightly slower charging isn't really a deal breaker. The Realme Neo 8 is clearly aimed at gamers, and everything about it reflects that. A class-leading display for its price, the Geek Performance Panel, Steam handheld mode, and a huge battery. But then there's this odd moment, like a chef randomly adding ice cream to the dish. It just feels out of place. Still, visuals aren't lacking either. If you can live with one or two of the flaws I mentioned, then it's definitely worth considering. Sure, There are phones with stronger raw performance or even bigger batteries at the same price. But finding this kind of well-balanced, all-around package isn't easy. On top of that, it shares the same system ecosystem as ColorOS, and Realme's after-service is being fully integrated with OPPO by April. Because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if Realme sees a real comeback in both sales and reputation this year. Alright, that wraps up today's video. If you found this helpful, don't forget to follow the channel. I'll see you in the next one.